What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. This one comes at the request of Mr. I Honor King Jesus. You requested this one, man, and we're doing it in the euro. We're talking about BCH versus the euro. I will close this video off toward the end with the US dollar, but I want to give it a general run through of the euro. I'm gonna grab some water real quick. I'm right here. I'm not going nowhere. Okay. All right. Man. Something about making videos makes me thirsty, man. So without any further ados and BS, let's get into it. Looking at it on the monthly, looks really good. Let's give it a general kind of like analysis here, right? You've got from top to bottom, from all-time high to all-time low. You've got your fib here. I think this is a very significant fib to base off of. You can see you held support on the 236, found a little resistance on the 382, held support on it again, finding resistance on it now potentially. Definitely a little bit, but we'll see how significant that is by the end of this month. Finding resistance on the 618, closing right at it, right? Kind of went above it up to the 0.69, a little bit higher as it normally does in my experience. Came back down, found support. You actually bounced off the 0.069 level. I do think inevitably, like the US dollar chart, I do think that you're going to break this 618, and when you do, you're going to see extensions. The only difference is, I think on the US dollar, it's the 1618 is at like 52 or 56,000, and the 1272 is at like 13,000. So the prices are different. Here on this chart, the 1272 is at 12,260, the 1618 is at 50,900, basically 51,000. So it must be 56,000 on the USD, I think. But, probably generally the same amount of percentage growth, like from here to those areas, right? Still ridiculous. And I do think it goes there. I think inevitably, I think this bull cycle is going to promote prices that are at least, this is the minimum expectation that I have for the bull cycle top, is about 12,261 euro. For Bitcoin Cash on this chart. Looking at it, if we're looking at it with the RSI, let's see here. Broke above the 50, gotta love it, that's good, that's always a good sign. Not holding it as resistance, you actually got above it. The last time you did this was the beginning of the last bull market, or the middle of the last bull market. After we had our initial pump, we went sideways for a bit, broke above it, actually broke above it, and we formed our lower high, but we still had a nice little I guess from this kind of relative low to high, 684% rally, which is nice. This is clearly a different move, right? We're not building 17, 20% a month. Last month, we gained 162%. There's not been another month like it other than this one here, which is 204%. The one after it was 80%, which is about half of the month that we experienced. And the only other one that was in the 100% zone was literally at 100% right here, 100.92%. There's been 3 monthly candles in this short existence of Bitcoin Cash versus the euro and versus the dollar, because it's the same on both charts actually. There's been 3 months where this kind of growth, about 100% or more has occurred. And what happened afterwards, right? We got a month here, and look at that, kept climbing afterwards. What happened here? Month here, afterwards climbed up a little bit more too even. Are we going to climb up after this? I think we could. I really think we could. I've actually been hinting at, I think that this month we're going to have a correction, and by the end of the month we might come back up, have a nice like kind of like this, or even to the green side looking. Could be something like this. I do expect a rather long wick to the downside to happen, but we're at the beginning of the month now. We have 25 days approximately left in the month, so there's a lot of time for all this to take place. And here's what I mean. I'll show you what I mean, okay? So comparing this 162% to this one, 204%, the only one out of all these candles that was bigger. Let's compare it to that. This would imply that we're going to go higher, right? And it just looks absolutely bullish. But if you really dissect it, you go on the weekly. That was November of 2017. So here's the 30th of October. The November started this weekly candle, okay? So within the month of November, it ended on this candle. So it started here, it ended here, okay? within that month, you pumped from an open to a close of 200, what was it? It was 216? 204%, okay? But also what you did within that same month that you opened and closed 204% to the green side, you went from top to low, 70% of a drop. You had a 70% of a drop, and you actually came back up. By the time that the month ended, you came back up another like 73%, okay? So very, very volatile. And it makes sense, you know, that, again, you look at it on a monthly, it just looks like it went straight up, and it basically did on a monthly, you know, at least for another month. But when you look at it, and that's, you know, that's on a longer term time frame. That's, you know, if you have longer term time frames, you're not going to care about the turbulence in between. But when you get big moves like this, you do get big pullbacks, and that's kind of something I've been saying. Bitcoin Cash is not afraid to do that and then continue higher. And this was a 70% pullback on a 204% month. The next time that we saw this, we had a 100% month. Not the next time we saw this, but the next time that we had a month that was 100% or greater was here. And the following month we did go higher, but only to close red. And this month, I believe that was April of 2018. Yeah. Started, I guess technically started this week, but started at the lows, ended up here at the highs, right? So in this month, you had no retracement back. It just went straight up. But you had a week where it was 2.5%, 18%, 53% was your biggest week. Where here, your biggest week was 154%, or like 38, 36, you know, it was a lot bigger movements. Well, what do we have going on now? We've got 82%, 53%, a lot bigger movements. I don't know if comparing it to this move is even necessarily appropriate, but look at what happened after a month of moving up. It still went down 63% in the coming month. It literally did, right? In the coming month and a half, technically. I don't expect it. I don't expect the drop that we're going to experience to be like, sorry, I'm all over the place here, to be like this. I expect it to be more like this. Something really quick, really just quick flush out. If you don't have your orders set, you're going to miss the lows, and that's okay. You can still buy at a good price even if you miss the lows. And if we do get something like this, I wouldn't think that we'd see follow through to the downside. I think we would go up, but I would more be inclined to believe that we'd do something like this. And yeah, man, that's really all I've got for. I mean, it's not all I've got for this video, but that's all I've got as far as the realm of talking about this. You know, Bitcoin Cash, again, just same kind of idea, is that it likes to pump up and it likes to give it back, man. It really does. And then it continues higher. There's nothing wrong with giving it back as long as you don't give it back more than you got it, you know? Like, go up higher than you do go lower, right? You know, there's not a lot of volume on this chart, but it's the euro pair on an American exchange. I'm sure that there's not going to be a lot of volume on this chart. I mean, we can go BCH, USD on Kraken, same chart. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, relatively speaking, there's a lot more volume. I don't know if it's more dollar-wise or not, but I would assume it is. Let's look at it in the short term now that we've kind of gotten that out of the way. So looking at it on the short term, very, very similar to the US dollar version. You are kind of rejecting the 50 area on the long-term RSI and rejecting the purple line here. That's pretty normal. It's pretty to be expected. This price kind of respects the 123 more, it looks like. It's holding it closer. It's closer to it, right? You rejected it here. You're rejecting it here. I don't expect that you're going to get a major drawback like this, though you could. You really could. But I'm not expecting something like that. I would expect that we go down probably to the top area of this previous range, if not to this high right here, you know, at least. And if we take a bottom to a top, a fib of this move here, the 618 is right here. I mean, it's literally like right at the top of this closing weekly candle. It's right there, right at the top of this range. The 382 at least is right here, which is kind of in this little range, but that's not really. Let's see if we put a line. Maybe there's something more in the past. Let's see. Support. We had support over here a little bit. Yeah, sure. You know, a little resistance there. Okay. So somewhere in this range, again, I probably had the same idea on the USD chart. Somewhere in that range, I would expect that we find a bottom in between 185 euro to 140 euro, give or take $5 either direction. You know, I would think more honestly that we don't bottom above this line, we do bottom below it. And it wouldn't surprise me on this one, however, again, if we bottomed below this one, but I would more expect that we did bottom above it. I would be surprised, let me say that again, I would be surprised if this low came in above this white line. I wouldn't be surprised if it came below this white line. So if it came above here, that's surprising. Below here is not surprising, but the overall expectation is somewhere in between. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not too confusing. I know what I'm trying to say. I just don't know if I'm saying it the right way. But anyways, looking at the weekly RSI, very overbought, man. Woohoo! Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. You know, a lot of people, they might make the mistake. Look at that, man. We got something kind of comparable. I don't like the way it's looking so far, but we've got something kind of comparable. Let's see. If we put a line right here, right at that peak, you've tipped it once, twice, 3 times. Basically, this is actually the highest reading we've ever had. That's a good thing, man. You're showing the strongest moves. You're having the strongest relative strength readings you've ever had in Bitcoin Cash's history. This is anything but bad, I promise you. It's a really good thing. But if we're looking at it from this top here, which happened in November of 2017, this was, again, this was the week that we started from up here to down here. We had a 70% drop. That was this week right here. Over here, and this one's kind of close. Look at how big of a drop that was, right? Pretty big drop. That was, I mean, let's see, from top to bottom, 71% again, and that was pretty close there. This one was actually more accurate, more right on the point, and this could be more of the lines of something that we see, right? Because this is like the beginning of an up move. We're at the beginning of an up move now, but this is smaller. So maybe the drop that we see here will be smaller than the drop we see here. Keep that in mind, right? So from top to bottom there, we still went down 39%. 39%, man. Right now, we have only dropped 24%. So can we go lower? I think so. With a move that's bigger than this, do I think we go lower than 39%? I think so. Could we drop 70% from all-time highs? Well, I mean, I would not expect that. I said all-time highs. I'm sorry, the relative high. It could happen. It could totally happen. I mean, again, this is a prime example here. You even had a higher high here. You formed a lower low, but then ultimately you went higher. You know, Bitcoin Cash does wonky things, man. It could do a 70 or a 71% drop. It really could. I don't expect that. I would more expect something like around, yeah, like a 50 to a 60% drop. That's kind of what I would expect, but definitely greater than a 24% drop. Especially with the fact that we're rejecting this, not rejecting, but we're in an area where we would reject this purple line. It's slanted down. You're potentially rejecting the 50 area on the long-term RSI too, you know. Very overbought. You need to cool off a little bit. There's nothing wrong with cooling off, man. Take a few weeks to go down. That way you can pump up. This thing loves to just pump up and then turn it back around, you know, like literally on every little, like it just does that. Especially with these big moves, man. Especially with these big moves. So that's what I got to say. Looking at the daily, man, the daily looks better on the euro than it does on the US dollar, I got to say. I think. Maybe not technically. So you haven't, today it looks like you're in the overbought zone, but that could change. If this day closes red, you're going to not be in the overbought zone. In fact, you'd be straight rejecting it. So I would say it's very similar actually to the USD. Let's see, BCH, USD on Coinbase. Yeah, you are in the overbought zone here, but again, if you close red on this day, you're not going to be in the overbought zone anymore. If you do close in the overbought zone, that would be a very bullish signal. I think that'd be a bullish signal. That might be, you know, if we look at the 4-hour and stuff and see how it looks, that might be a good time to buy in. But let's go back to the euro here. Versus Kraken again. I'm on the 4-hour looking at it. You know, kind of showing strength. You bounced off the 50 here, but the last couple times that you've bounced off the 50, you know, you bounced off it here and then you went lower. I guess you didn't bounce off it over here. I said the last couple times it was here and then here you bounced, and it didn't really bear any good fruits. Here we have a high. Is it a lower high? It is a lower high along with lower lows. So I wouldn't expect this bounce to do anything. You know, we're like back around here when we were breaking above this 50 here, like looking like we wanted to reject it. I was saying that we could go a little bit higher, but now, even with this look here, I wouldn't think that we're going to go higher. If we did at all, it'd be short-lived. It would just be another lower high than this, but I definitely would expect that we go lower from here, and probably move, let's see, I mean, anywhere from like 217 to 193 euro, something like that over by the end of this week, which we have about 3 days left in. I don't know. It's getting to the weekend that, maybe it happens next week that we move to like 217 to 193 euro. I don't know. Things to watch for, what I would say is, if you want this thing to flip bullish and you want to start making bull moves, close above here, this low close here, close above 266 euro, or close above here. This would be even more bullish, closing above 274. 266, closing above there would be a nice indication that you could go higher on a daily basis. You would be in the overbought zone again. That would be further proving that you're probably going to go higher again. And where you would go, I mean, you would go from top to bottom here. You could go to like 326 to 387 euro, or even higher than that. You could see potentially 500 euro. That's totally possible. But I'm more inclined to believe that we go down. To prove that kind of idea wrong, what you'd want to see first is, again, close above 266.50. And then really convincing would be closing above 274. And I mean, ultimately, I guess, technically, this high here at 278 euro, closing above 278.31, that would be the most convincing that we are, the very compelling that we're going to go up higher. Again, probably anywhere from like the high 300s to around 500. I mean, maybe mid 300s to 500, somewhere in that range. I definitely would expect that we'd go past the 1272 on this, because this would just be it's the end of a strong move, so we'll probably get a strong extension off of it. If it was to go up, again, I don't think it's going up from here. I think we are going to go lower. What you would look for that to be more convinced of that, you just want to close below this here. Oops. Didn't mean to. You want to close below this daily low close here at 249 on the daily, so 249 euro. If you close below that on the daily, I would assume that you are going to make your move down to the 382 or the 618 of this fib here pretty quickly. Yeah. So yeah, closing below 249, you would probably go to about 185 or 137, somewhere in that range, fairly quickly. I would assume so. If not lower, honestly. So those are the two kind of areas, I guess, to watch. Like for real conviction, I'd say 278 euro and 249 euro. A close above or below either of those lines, that would be very convincing of the direction that we're going to go. Especially with this RSI, man. If we reject out of the overbought zone, I think that's a very strong signal for the bears. But if we hold it, if we're back in it and we're holding it, it looks like we're bouncing off of this area, that would be a very strong signal for the bulls. So without just like saying the same stuff over and over again, I think I'm going to move on from that. Let me see. On a 4-hour basis, it's different because it's on the 4-hour instead of the daily. If you close on a 4-hour above 268 euro, it'll start to look good. Where on the downside, if you close below 233 euro, it would start to look bad. So closing below 233 on a 4-hour or closing below 249 on a daily is what I would want to see personally. If you're a bull, you want to see a close above 278 on a daily or 269 on the 4-hour. Just to kind of give it different time frames so that you can catch it maybe before the day closes if something like that happens. Definitely pay attention to the RSI, see how that goes. I think right now, if this was to make a move up, it's in a position to do that, but I don't think it's going to, man. I think it's going to move lower personally, but we'll see. That's my bias. BCH USD, we're gonna look at that now. I hope that was enough, man. I hope that was enough analysis, and I gave some price points that are relative to the euro. Hope I wasn't too confusing. I know I have quite the way with words sometimes, but yeah, again, looking at this on the BCH USD, it looks very similar, right? And as it should. The only thing difference really is the price points. And again, same kind of thing. You know, I'm not going to go over all of it again, but I think that we're going to move lower from here. Mainly because the main reason I think that is because any time that we've had a move remotely this size, right? I mean, even moves that are like 80%, they give it back, and to the tune of, at a minimum, 39%, which we haven't even seen yet. And truthfully, I think that we'd be closer to, again, 50 to 60% drawback, somewhere around the 382 or the 618, which on the dollar is around $200 to $148. And with that, I think I'm going to leave off. You know, like, it just looks, you know, very, very similar, obviously, as what we've seen, as what we've just gone over on the euro. So I don't think I need to go over too much more of that. I would just say, in the short term versus the dollar, look for a close, because you know, the same stuff that I literally just went over, but in dollar terms now. Look for a close below 272. If we get a close below 272, it will probably be game on to prices around $200 or lower. Controversially to that, if we close above 304 on the daily, then we're probably going to go up. On a 4 hour, if you want to, you know, you don't want to wait for the daily close, you want to get a little, I don't know, quicker judgment. I don't know what word to use, man. You want to come to a quicker determination. You want to close bullishly above 307 on a 4 hour, or you want to close bearishly below 253.55. You want to close below 253 on the 4 hour if you want this thing to go down. And we're right in the middle of the range now. So this is a classic area where you just don't trade. Don't trade. If you're in it, stay in it. If you're out of it, stay out of it. That's the best recommendation. You're feeling FOMO. If you're feeling FOMO right now and you want to get in, normally if you're feeling FOMO, it's probably not a good time to get in. But if you want to get in, go for it. DCA, man. Put like 10% of your position in. Put 50% of it. Whatever. Like, you know, it's not financial advice. This is just some guy talking. But, you know, don't let my bias hold anybody back from buying. If you're feeling the itch to buy, man, again, buying in the middle of a range is not a good idea. It never is. Selling in the middle of the range is not a good idea. It never is. Because you could just as easily, you know, go against whatever decision you make. I think this is a perfect time to kind of wait. If you're looking to sell, as sad as it is, you're going to have to wait probably for a more convincing, like about a 10% drop from here, or maybe at least like 2 or 3% drop from here. You know, maybe if we close on a 4 hour below here, that would be more convincing that we will indeed go lower. But who knows? And then same thing to the upside. You know, if you wanted to buy, well, if you buy here and we go down, that's not good. You'd want to wait for this thing to go up a little bit before being more convinced to buy, or at least that's what I'd want to do. And again, that's about 10%. That makes sense. 10% either way. We're right in the middle of the range. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you like the video, thumbs up, please, and subscribe to see more. I appreciate all the new subscribers. Thank you guys very much. I hope you liked the video. Have a very good day, a good night wherever you are, and take care. Bye-bye.